You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. When I finally stepped into the banquet hall, the room was already humming. Laughter echoed off the high vaulted ceilings. Waitstaff in pressed white shirts moved like clockwork between tables, weaving around guests in suits and cocktail dresses. It smelled like money, like cologne and roasted duck and floral centerpieces flown in from out of state. I was 20 minutes late, not because I wanted to be, but because Claire had told me the wrong start time, said 6:30 in the group chat, when apparently it all kicked off at 6. I paused by the door, scanning the long banquet table that ran the length of the room. There had to be 25, maybe 30 seats, each one lined with gleaming silverware and embossed name cards. Every single seat was filled, except one. Mine. It sat right at the far end of the table, beside the staff kitchen door, tucked awkwardly behind a decorative pillar, the kind of spot you give to someone who technically needs to be there, but who shouldn't be seen. Claire spotted me first. She stood halfway down the table in a red sheath dress that probably cost more than our mortgage payment. Her voice rose above the chatter. "Oh, Marcus made it, just in time to stand." Laughter broke across the table like a wave. Someone clapped. Claire's cousin, maybe. Her dad gave a hearty chuckle, the kind that bounced in his chest like a golf ball off pavement. I stood still. "Guess we ran out of room," Claire said, lifting her wine glass. "Should have RSVP'd faster, babe." More laughter. Polite, sharp, indulgent. I looked at her, not smiling. Then I looked at the seat. It wasn't even a real chair, just a folding one with a thin cushion, clearly dragged in last minute. Claire went back to her drink like nothing happened. No one offered to move. No one slid over. Not even her brother, who'd taken up enough space for 2 people and had an empty chair between him and the next guest. I felt my hands tingle, a slow, creeping heat up my arms. But I didn't say a word. Not yet. I walked the length of the table slowly, deliberately, past each smiling face, each smug in-law, the same people who gave me that polite chuckle at Christmas, that side glance at Easter brunch. I had always taken it, smiled through it, bit my tongue. I reached my seat. I pulled it out. Then I pushed it back in, gently, quietly. Claire turned, confused. I didn't look at her. I turned on my heel and walked out. No yelling, no scene. Just the click of my shoes on marble as I left the table, the hall, the humiliation. My silence hit harder than any speech could have. Behind me I heard someone say, "Wait, did he just..." Then came the silence. Not the funny kind, the uneasy kind. The kind that sucks the air out of the room and leaves people wondering if maybe they took the joke too far. I didn't stop walking. Let them sit with it. The roads blurred under the streetlights as I drove with no destination in mind. My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than necessary, but I didn't loosen them. I needed something to hold on to. The windshield wipers ticked slowly across the glass, brushing away a mist that hadn't turned into real rain. I wasn't even sure where I was, somewhere past the edge of the city, into the older neighborhoods with broken sidewalks and flickering neon signs. Claire's laugh still rang in my ears, that cold, dismissive laugh, the same one she'd used for years, at dinners with her family, on double dates with her old college friends. Even sometimes, just the 2 of us in the kitchen when I made a dumb joke and she didn't find it cute anymore. I could still hear her voice from the banquet. "Should have RSVP'd faster, babe," as if I was a stranger in her life. My phone buzzed in the cup holder. I didn't want to check it. I knew who it was. After 3 more buzzes, I finally picked it up at a red light. Claire. It was just a joke. "Don't be so dramatic." That was it. One line. No apology, no, "I didn't mean to humiliate you." Just a casual brush-off, like always. I stared at the message until the light turned green. Then I turned into an empty grocery store parking lot, killed the engine, and sat in the dark. Just a joke. I opened our phone account page on my laptop. We'd shared the plan for years, mostly because I'd signed us both up for a bundle that saved us $50 a month. She had no problem letting me pay for it, none at all. The screen loaded slowly. I clicked through to her call logs, then her text logs. I told myself I didn't know what I was looking for. But that wasn't true. I'd had the feeling for months. Late nights, at work. Phone flipped face down on the counter every time I walked in. That new perfume she wore, something spicy and bold, totally unlike her usual floral scents. I scrolled past the usual numbers. Then I saw it. A number with no name attached, but hundreds of texts. Morning, afternoon, middle of the night. 3 in the morning, 1:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. Another one at 6 a.m. the next day. There were calls too, long ones. My chest tightened. I clicked on the details link. Dozens of little speech bubbles filled the page. I didn't need to read the texts to know what they meant. I knew this pattern, the timing, the frequency. Claire hadn't just been laughing at me tonight, she'd been hiding something, and now I had to know what it was. I copied the number and pasted it into a reverse lookup site. The name blinked onto the screen. Brandon Keller. I didn't know the name, but I was going to. I closed the laptop and sat in silence, hands shaking just enough to make me aware of it. Claire had turned my silence into a punchline. Now it was my turn to speak. Brandon Keller. The name didn't mean anything to me at first. I stared at it on the screen like it might explain itself. He wasn't one of our friends, not someone from work, not someone from her side of the family. I ran a quick search. His LinkedIn popped up. Sales manager at some boutique software firm downtown. Slick photo. That forced business casual smile people practice in office mirrors. The text kept swirling in my head. The late night calls, the long gaps in our conversations lately, the quiet indifference in her voice whenever she got home from working late. It wasn't emotional distance anymore. It was something real, physical. I remembered that night a few weeks back. Claire had come home around 11, hair slightly curled, lipstick smudged. I asked how the project went. She said it was exhausting, didn't even bother lying well. I pulled up the billing log from the day. There it was, 14 texts to Brandon Keller between 5 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. A call at 10:15 p.m. Then I found it. One message included a location ping. Probably something automated from their phone, some app link or dropped pin she didn't realize would show up in the usage history. It was a hotel, not even far, one of those high-end boutique ones with rooftop bars and overpriced drinks. I clicked the address. My stomach dropped. That was the same night she told me she was stuck at work late because her client's software had crashed and she couldn't leave. She'd even sent me a picture of her laptop open on a desk. Now I knew why the lighting in the photo looked off. It wasn't her office. It was the hotel's business lounge. It wasn't just a suspicion anymore. She'd slept with him, and not just once. My whole body went still. Not trembling, not angry, just quiet. Like I was sitting at the bottom of a pool, watching everything above me blur and slow down. For a while, I didn't move. I just stared at the screen. I didn't even feel betrayed in the way people always describe. It wasn't fireworks or screaming or wanting to punch a wall. It was clarity, sharp, clean, cold. I closed the laptop and placed it gently on the passenger seat. Turned the key in the ignition. I wasn't driving to Claire's work. I wasn't driving to that hotel. I was going home, but not to confront her, not to cry or scream. No, I was going home to get ready. Because now that I knew the truth, I wasn't going to waste a single word. She wanted to make a fool out of me. She had no idea who she was dealing with. The house was too quiet when I walked in. Not peaceful quiet, vacant quiet, like something had already left. Claire was curled up on the couch, legs tucked under her, flipping through channels like nothing was wrong in the world. She didn't even glance up when the door shut behind me. "Hey," she said lazily. "Didn't expect you back this early." I stood there for a second, watching her. She looked comfortable, unbothered, the same way she looked on Sunday mornings with her coffee and crossword puzzle. "I wasn't at work," I said. My voice was steady. It surprised even me. That got her attention. She muted the TV and finally looked over, her brows pulled together. "Okay. Then where were you?" I walked past her and sat down on the armchair across from the couch. Not beside her, not tonight. "Tell me about the hotel," I said. She froze. Her lips parted slightly like she was about to respond, but no words came. "What hotel?" she asked finally, tone too casual to be innocent. "Don't lie, Claire." Her jaw tightened. "I don't know what you think you saw, but—" I cut her off. "Brandon Keller." Silence. Dead silence. She blinked once, slowly, like her whole system was rebooting. Then she let out a bitter laugh and sank back into the couch cushions. "So, you've been snooping?" "No," I said calmly. "I've been paying attention." She crossed her arms and gave me that look, The one she used when I asked why her friends never invited me out. When I asked if she still wanted to be in this marriage. The look that said, "You're pathetic for even asking." "Fine," she said, shrugging. "You caught me. Want a trophy?" I didn't respond. She sat forward. "You always do this. You dig around, act like you're some noble victim. But we both know what this is. Enlighten me." "You," she snapped, "are boring, predictable. You come home, you mow the lawn, you make coffee the exact same way every morning. You think being loyal is the same thing as being interesting?" I stayed silent. "You want to know why, Marcus?" she continued, voice rising. "Because Brandon makes me feel alive, like someone actually wants me. You're just there, existing, paying bills, nodding through life." I studied her face. Not just the cruelty, but the relief. Like she'd been waiting to say all this for years. I nodded slowly. "You done?" I asked. She scoffed. "What, no righteous speech? No crying? Nothing?" I stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water. "No," I said quietly. "I think I finally understand." Her smile faltered just a little. "I spent years loving someone who couldn't even bring herself to respect me," I said. "And you just proved it." Then I set the glass down, walked past her, and headed upstairs. I didn't slam the door. I didn't need to. The silence I left in my place was loud enough. The next morning, I woke up early. Not because I had somewhere to be, but because it was time. Claire was still asleep when I got up, sprawled out across the bed like she owned the place. I watched her for a second, not with affection, but with the detached stare you give to something you've already left behind. I showered, dressed, and started packing. Not in a frantic rush, not like I'd been kicked out. This was deliberate, controlled, like clockwork. The sound of the suitcase wheels on the hardwood must have woken her. I heard her feet hit the floor. "Are you seriously packing?" she asked, standing in the doorway in one of my t-shirts, the one she always stole. "Where the hell do you think you're going?" I zipped the suitcase. "I'm leaving." Claire blinked once, twice. Then the smirk slid back into place. "Oh, come on. Is this supposed to scare me, this little dramatic exit?" I didn't answer. I picked up the suitcase and carried it downstairs. She followed. "You're being ridiculous," she said, louder now. "You don't even have a plan. You're just walking out?" "No," I said. "I've had a plan for a while. I was just waiting for you to give me the final reason." She scoffed. "God, you love pretending you're the victim." I set the suitcase by the door, grabbed the folder I'd prepared the night before, and turned to face her. "I'm not the victim," I said. "I'm just done being the fool." She rolled her eyes. "You'll be back in a week, just like always." I handed her the folder. "Open it." She didn't, just looked down at it like it might bite her. "What is this?" "Everything," I said. "Proof, texts, logs, your hotel charges, your little vacation with Brandon." Her face went pale for a split second before she masked it with anger. "So you've been spying on me? Number?" "I've been preparing for this moment." Claire tossed the folder on the table like it was garbage. "Whatever. Run off. See if I care." "I'm not just leaving you," I said. "I'm done with your whole damn family." That hit a nerve. Her jaw clenched. "What's that supposed to mean?" I stepped closer, calm and cold. "It means I'm going to your parents' house, and I'm going to show them exactly who their perfect daughter really is." Her eyes widened. "You wouldn't." "Oh, I would," I said. "And I will." She shook her head, laughing nervously. "They won't believe you." "I don't need them to believe," I said, grabbing my keys. "I just need them to see it." Claire didn't stop me. She didn't scream. She just stood there in the living room in her bare feet, mouth slightly open, arms crossed like a shield. And for the first time since I married her, I wasn't afraid of what she thought. I walked out, suitcase rolling behind me, and never looked back. Next stop, her parents' house. Let's see how loud they laugh after this. The hotel I checked into was one of those extended stay places, clean, quiet, generic. A place people go when something falls apart. I didn't unpack much, just laid down on the stiff mattress and stared at the ceiling fan turning slow, rhythmic circles. The silence was heavy, not uncomfortable, but strange. It had been years since I heard this much of it. For the first time in forever, no one was calling my name from the kitchen. No sarcastic comments, no schedule to keep. It was just me. Eventually, I pulled out my laptop again. I stared at Brandon Keller's name in the text logs. I wasn't planning some kind of revenge. I didn't even know what I wanted. But the truth felt unfinished. So I picked up my phone and called him. He answered on the third ring, voice thick with sleep. Hello? Brandon Keller? Yeah, who is this? There was a pause. This is Marcus. Marcus? Claire's husband. Silence. I heard him exhale through his nose. A long, slow breath. Then, shit, yeah. More silence. You know, he said finally, I do. I didn't. He stopped. She told me you two were separated, that you still live together for financial reasons. She lied. I figured that out about an hour ago, he muttered. I could hear him moving around, probably sitting up in bed. She said you were cold, controlling, that you didn't touch her anymore, that she was just staying until the lease was up. I let that hang in the air. I wasn't going to defend myself. I didn't know, he added. I swear I wouldn't have. I believe you. He sounded genuinely thrown. Wait, seriously? You've been played just like I was, I said. She's good at that. There was a long pause. Then he cleared his throat. Look, I have something you probably should see. What is it? She sent me videos, screenshots. Stuff she said about you while we were texting. It's bad. I didn't respond. I can forward it to you, he said. But it's rough. She didn't hold back. Send it. You sure? I'm sure. He gave a half-nervous chuckle. All right, man. Brace yourself. It'll be in your inbox in a few. I hung up. I didn't know exactly what Brandon was sending me, but I had a feeling whatever it was, it would be the final nail. Brandon wasn't lying. 10 minutes after our call, the email hit my inbox. The subject line was blank. The body just said, I'm sorry for all of it. Brandon attached were screenshots, dozens of them, texts from Claire, messages that stretched back months. I scrolled through them slowly at first, then faster. Claire called me safe, reliable like an old truck, she wrote in one. In another, he's not a man. He's a routine, a placeholder with a pulse. She told Brandon I was too stupid to notice anything, that she could walk in at 3 a.m. And I'd still say, hey babe, how was work? Every word landed like a brick, but it was the video that broke whatever was left of the past version of me. The file took a few seconds to load. It opened with Claire sitting in a hotel room, drink in hand, laughing. Her lipstick was smeared, and the straps of her dress had slid off her shoulders. She wasn't even trying to hide where she was. She looked right at the camera and said, I swear, sometimes I think he's just furniture with a credit card. Laughter behind the camera, Brandon's. He sounded uncomfortable, like maybe he didn't find it all that funny. Claire didn't care. He thinks loyalty is the same as love. Like if he folds the laundry and pays the mortgage, that makes him a real man. Then she took a sip of her drink and shrugged. Whatever. Let him keep thinking he's winning. I'm just buying time until I figure out how to leave without giving up the house. I paused the video, sat there in the hotel bed with my laptop on my knees, the screen frozen on Claire's smirking face. I didn't cry. I didn't punch a wall. I didn't scream. I just sat there, still, cold. Then I opened my phone. I typed a single text to Claire. Pack your things. You're gone tomorrow. No punctuation, no anger, just the sentence. She replied almost immediately. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Then another. Marcus, slow down. Can we just talk? Then, what did you hear? What did he say? I didn't answer. I turned my phone over and let the screen go dark. It wasn't a conversation anymore. It was a closing statement. I leaned back against the stiff hotel pillows, stared up at the ceiling, and breathed. For the first time in years, I wasn't second-guessing anything. This was no longer about trying to fix something broken. This was about clearing the wreckage. Tomorrow, she'd be out, and I'd finally begin again, alone, by choice. I pulled into the driveway at 8:03 a.m. Claire's car was already parked halfway crooked, like she'd been too distracted or too pissed to bother lining it up straight. I stepped out of mine without hesitation. I wasn't nervous, wasn't dreading the fight. I felt blank. The front door was unlocked. She was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed, face hard. She had dressed like she was going into battle, hair straightened, makeup done, earrings sharp enough to cut glass. "This is how you want to do it?" she snapped before I could even speak. "A text in the middle of the night like I'm some stranger you picked up off Craigslist?" I set a folder on the counter. She didn't touch it. "Those are the filing papers. Already submitted. My lawyer said you'll get the notice in a few days, but I figured I'd do you the courtesy of not waiting." Her eyes narrowed. "You filed?" I nodded once. No back and forth, no therapy, no second rounds. It's done. "You're seriously divorcing me over what? A couple of texts?" I didn't flinch. A couple dozen texts, the video and the hotel, and everything else I ignored for way too long. She let out a bitter laugh. "So you and Brandon had your little powwow and decided I was the villain, huh?" "No," I said quietly. "You decided that." She pushed off the counter, pacing now. "This is ridiculous. You're blowing up our whole life over what? Some screenshots that don't tell the full story." "I saw the full story, in your own words." Claire shook her head, gripping the edge of the sink like it was the only thing keeping her steady. "I was venting. People say stupid things when they're angry. You've never done that?" "No," I said. "Not like that." She walked past me, into the living room. "So what? You just expect me to pack up and vanish? Like I was never here?" "I expect you to leave," I said, following her calmly. "Today." "You don't get to tell me when to leave," she snapped. "This is my house too." "No, it's not," I said. "It's in my name. I bought it 3 years before we even met. You signed the prenup, remember?" She froze. "You said it was just paperwork," I added. "Guess it mattered after all." Her face went pale for a second. Then the fury came back twice as fast. "You know what? Fine, I'll leave. But don't expect me to make it easy. I'm going to take everything I can legally touch. And when I'm done, you'll wish you'd never been born." I didn't respond. She stomped upstairs. I heard drawers slam, hangers scrape, the zipping of suitcases, the thuds of things being thrown. Around noon, she came back down with 2 bags and a tote slung over her shoulder. Her jaw was tight. Her lipstick was smeared. "You're pathetic," she muttered as she passed me. "You think this makes you strong? You're just bitter, weak, the kind of man who couldn't hold on to a woman unless she was stuck." I opened the front door for her. She glared at me. "Say something, Marcus. Anything." I looked at her. "Goodbye, Claire." She hesitated, for just a second, like she wasn't used to not having the last word. Then she walked out. The door closed behind her with a dull, perfect thud. And just like that, she was gone. No yelling, no begging, no theatrics. Just silence, the kind I could live with. I didn't follow her to the car, didn't look through the blinds, just listened. The sound of her suitcase wheels scraping the concrete, the slam of her trunk, the engine firing up too loud, too fast. Then she was gone. I waited a moment, walked into the kitchen, made coffee like it was any other Sunday. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. "Claire, did you seriously go to my parents? You're unbelievable." I smiled to myself. She finally figured it out. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another text. "They're furious. Thanks for humiliating me." I kept sipping my coffee. Then a call from her mother. I let it ring. Voicemail followed, shaky voice trembling with forced composure. "Marcus, we heard some things. I don't know what she told you, but this doesn't feel like a family matter anymore. Maybe it's better if we all take space." Translation. The golden daughter had finally cracked her perfect mask. See, I didn't just tell them. I showed them. Screenshots, dates, the hotel receipt. A short clip from the video. Just enough to paint the picture, but not enough to violate my own dignity. I told them I wasn't angry, just done, that they could keep her. Because I no longer wanted to be part of a family that sat around laughing at me while she was lying to my face. They didn't have much to say after that. Her dad looked like he'd swallowed a brick. Her mom tried to salvage it with a polite, "These things happen," smile. But the damage was done. Claire had built her little empire of charm and gossip on the illusion that I was the boring one, the extra, the safe bet. And now, I had dropped a match in the middle of it. Back at the house, I sat on the porch, still holding my mug. Around noon, she texted again. "You'll regret this, I promise you." No punctuation, just venom. I stared at the message for a long second. Then I blocked her number. I didn't need her promises. I already had the truth. And sometimes the truth burns everything down. Good. Let it. The house felt bigger without her. Not in a lonely way. In a breathable way. Every room I walked through felt like it had just exhaled. No perfume clouding the air. No sharp heels tapping across the hardwood. No tension hiding in the corners. Just space and silence. I poured myself a drink that night. Just one. No occasion. No toast. Just something to hold in my hand while I stood in the living room and looked around. The couch where she used to scroll through her phone, barely hearing a word I said. The table where we ate dinner in silence. The wall where we once hung that stupid photo of us in matching sweaters, the one she only took for Instagram. It was all still there, but the weight had lifted. My phone buzzed once. An email. Brandon. Subject. Figured you'd want to know. I opened it. She reached out 2 days after she left. Said she wasn't sure what she wanted anymore and needed closure. I told her no. That what she did wasn't just cheating. It was mean. You didn't deserve that. Thought you'd want to know. I read it twice. Then leaned back in my chair. She was already trying to circle back, to keep one foot in the door. Brandon didn't let her. That was the only closure I needed. I typed back, appreciate it, take care of yourself. Then I closed the laptop. Outside, the evening was cool. I stepped onto the porch barefoot, glass still in hand. The wind was just strong enough to move the leaves. I sat down on the steps and took a slow sip. There were no messages to worry about. No damage control to do. No in-laws to impress. No schemes to decode. It was quiet. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel dull or overlooked or small. I felt free. Not victorious, not smug, just free. I finished my drink, stood up, and walked back inside. Turned off every light as I went. Then I locked the front door behind me. Not to keep anyone out, but to keep peace in. That was the last time I thought about Claire as someone I needed to understand. She made her choice, and I made mine. In the end, I didn't lose anything. I just finally noticed what had already left a long time ago. And when I looked around, all that remained was mine. Mine to rebuild, mine to protect, mine to live in, alone, but finally on my terms.